What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video we're going to be talking about two new molds that just dropped that I think are going to be absolute game changers and must have in your bags. Let's get into it. So if you haven't heard, Meridian Disc is a newer manufacturer that started out here in Texas, and they just dropped two new molds just recently. We have a slightly overstable mid-range and we have a 7-speed fairway driver. Both are really fantastic and are extremely versatile. So we're going to focus more on the Ravine right now, which is the slightly overstable mid-range. I feel like this is a slot that a lot of companies try to fill, and in my opinion fail very often. I think about like the Rock X3 when that came out, throwing other discs like the Toro, that's a little too overstable. Was fine on a sidearm, but just didn't have that push, and so I feel like it's hard to kind of find that middle ground sometimes. And this mid, I feel like, is the disc I have been missing in that slot. It's a beadless mid-range, so it comes out of the hand really clean and gets a lot of really good push while also getting a really dependable finish. In my opinion, that slightly overstable mid-range, the flight that I look for is if I'm throwing into a dead straight headwind, maybe about 10 miles an hour, I want to be able to throw that mid-range flat and have it fly like a straight mid-range would fly in no wind. That's what I want my slightly overstable mid-range to fly like, and that's what I feel like it should fly. Because in no wind, if I throw this on hyzer, it's going to hold that hyzer and continue to actually bite. In the heavier winds, it's going to fly like an extremely dependable straight mid-range, which I think is what a lot of us want. I'm talking about the headwind, so let's put it to the test. Going into about a 10-mile-an-hour headwind, maybe a little more, storms rolling in. Let's see how it holds up. I'm going to go very controlled power, maybe flat to a touch of hyzer, and let's just see how it holds up into the straight headwind. Straight, but a dependable finish the entire time. It wasn't biting over like crazy. If I put it on hyzer, it would have held that and continued to bite, but just super workable. One of the reasons why I feel like this slot is so valuable is because it doesn't take a lot of manipulation to get a different flight out of the disc. All you have to do, you know, flat, at least for someone like me who throws my mids probably anywhere from 250 to 340 maybe, and I could throw this mid on pretty much any of those shots, which is really cool, because if I throw it flat, I know I'm gonna go dead straight with a finish probably 40% into the flight. It's gonna probably start going left. If I put it on that touch of Annie, it's gonna hold that straight for probably 60-70% of the flight and then get its fight back. So it's super versatile when it comes to just being able to throw it on different angles without having to make that much of a difference in your throw. It's just a bunch of little tweaks to get a completely different flight, and that I feel like other discs like a Toro just can't do. You know, you can put a Toro on a good amount of Annie and get that aggressive fight, but you're not going to get that push unless you maybe beat one up, and I think this is just a great mold to have that's just a dependable, overstable, or slightly overstable mid-range right out of the box. That's going to get a fantastic amount of push. So here we are, we're going to throw them back. Winds kind of come in slightly like this way, so it's kind of like a tail right to left. I'm going to try to throw these on a couple different angles and just kind of show y'all what I mean. Just by a slight different release, and I feel like you're almost getting a completely different flight, which is so sick out of a mid-range that's so dependable. So on a shot like this, I'm gonna go probably just straight soft hyzer with it and let the wind push it, and y'all can see the goodness of this flight. Slight right to left. I mean, like, stable, but also go so far. All right, we'll go flat. I'm probably going to hang this out slightly still on the right side because it's going to start fading fairly quick with the wind too. As flat as I can. A little low, but still dead straight. Didn't turn, but was kind of fading the entire time. Here we go. slight baby flex, maybe a touch of Annie. Touch of Annie out of the hand. I'm probably throwing these 330, maybe 320. Slight Annie. I'm gonna try. I struggle with my Annies. Oh, I did it perfectly. Look at that. Look at that. That is. That's just what I'm saying. Like, I barely hit it on the Annie and it was able to fly like a super dependable straight mid-range. And I think that's just such a valuable disc to have. I think for shots like where you have out of bounds on your right and you're wanting to throw something super dependable, but maybe that overstable gator, you know, you're gonna have to hammer into that. This is that disc that you want because you know it's not gonna actually turn over. It might push straight a little longer than you would like, but you know it's not gonna flip. And I think that's something that is extremely valuable to have, especially if you're a tournament player and you have shots that are just scary. You have OB on the right, or you're a left-handed player, OB on the left, and you just want to get that push, but want to get something that you know isn't going to turn like crazy. This is the mold for you. All right, the next mold we are talking about is the Current 7.5 -1.2, I think are the numbers. And I would say it's pretty true to numbers. It reminds me of a, maybe like a beat-in T-Bird 3 with having a baby with an FD. A good amount of glide, very comfortable profile in the hand, and a very smooth rim and bottom. It's got a subtle dome, so you do get a decent amount of glide out of it, but also just a really comfortable disc in the hand. Also, as a T-Bird 3 thrower, I've been throwing T-Bird 3s for a very long time, most of my career since I've been playing, and which I think is one of the best fairways on the market. And this reminds me of a kind of beat-in, worked-in T-Bird 3. Really easy, controllable flight, and I think this is a disc that everybody of all skill levels could use and use a lot. So let's start a little bit, going into a bit of a headwind. So I'm going to put a little bit of hyzer on these. So I mean, you saw there, it flipped up and slow turned, but didn't burn over. It's not understable by any means, just a fairly stable, torque resistant fairway. We're going to hit this one maybe a little higher, maybe a little flatter. Look at that. That is crazy. It turned and then pushed and got the baby fade. It's such a great mold and a good mix of torque resistance, but not overstability. It's stable, but it's not overstable. It's stable and very torque resistant in my opinion. Super versatile disc, and another disc that you can just barely tweak and kind of get almost a whole different flight out of, which is really, really cool, and I feel like hard to come by. All those throws were also into a 10 to 15 mile gust headwind slash right to left, so they were acting a little less stable, so they will be probably a touch more stable in calmer conditions, but nonetheless, it's a controllable 7-speed that you can throw in the wind, and then I'll show you that you can throw it kind of in better calm conditions and still not have to do a whole lot to it. I'm gonna throw these back. We got a tailwind now. I'm risking my life right now for this video, guys. Risking my absolute life right now. We're gonna throw it. Slight tailwind, right to left. Oh, I spoke too soon. The wind flipped. Now it's like a left to right. And that flipped and rode flew really well. If any of these two molds interest y'all, you can either hit me up. I have some with my custom stamp on them that you can purchase and help support me. Or you can buy some on the Meridian Discs website. You can also use code MCTAN, MCTAN, for a 10% discount. You can also check these out at armorydiscgolf.com. They're a fantastic retailer out of Texas here. Some of the best prices in the game, honestly, and have a full store, a full lineup. You can also use Tanner 10 to save on their entire website. Go ham with that discount. Thank y'all so much for watching. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. Hope y'all try out these new molds. I think they're gonna make some waves in the disc golf scene, in the disc golf world. I feel pretty confident about that, and y'all should go check them out. Make sure to leave a comment down below if you do try one out, and make sure y'all like and subscribe so y'all can see more videos like this. That's gonna help you get better plastic in your bag. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.